Joe here, your reliability man, bridging the gap between best practices and your reality. Your lean driven reliability topic of the day is part two of my top 10 mistakes, lessons learned, things I wish I employed earlier in my career. First, hit subscribe. If this is the second video of mine you've watched, please hit subscribe. It doesn't take you down a rat hole. Just hit subscribe. That's only action that's needed. It won't take you to another screen. Don't worry about that. Hit the alert button so you know about my videos coming up. And we still have our question challenge going on. The top three questions, our first three questions that get asked, I will feature in an upcoming video and reference your name. So please drop a line to me in the comment section. Okay, now the top 10. We are on number 3. Emergency work must be managed first. I wish I knew that earlier in my career. You have all these plans, and the urgent always takes priority over the strategic. It's 10 times as big as you think it is. So if you think your emergency work is 10%, now 10 times 10 is 100, so can't go there. But it is much larger than you think it is. You may have a planned job out there. This was routine at my plant. You have a planned job. It's 2 mechanics, 8 hours. That planner anticipates people being pulled off that job at least 4 hours. So if it's a 2-hour job, they're going to add 4 to it. And then, just to make sure that they get it done, they're going to add 2 more and just call it a day. Okay? So emergency work is all through your organization, and in every number you got, in every decision you've got, emergency work. So you got to manage it. Okay? Urgent always trumps the strategic. People are getting pulled off jobs. You have a PM that is, say it's a 2-hour PM, and they get pulled off. They come back. They don't do all the work. They got to turn it back over to production. You think you lubed the machine, and you didn't lube the machine. It is a cancer in most organizations. Every organization I've been to, 31 of them. So I'd be shocked if it's not in your organization. At least double what you think it is. So you got to have a plan to manage that. One of the ways I like to manage it is to completely separate the people that do trouble calls and the people that do planned work. Separate the crews. And then when you don't have enough people, you elevate that in the organization so a decision is made. So you can maybe use overtime, maybe not do some work, but protect the planned jobs, because it's being hours are being extracted off that to emergency work much more than you think. Number 2, so that was number 3, and remember, these are in order. Okay, these are in order of my mistakes. I wish I would have focused on waste a lot earlier. Every tool in your reliability toolbox, planning, scheduling, kitting, CMMS system, problem solving, all the training, the P to F curve, all your PDM tools, all your PMs, all your FMEA work, it's all designed. 100% of the goal is to eliminate waste. So blindly applying these tools and not understanding your waste makes no sense at all. It makes no sense at all. And one of the things, that I learned, and this is under the waste category, is about 50% of the wrench time waste and equipment cost is production related. They're running the assets wrong. They're beating up the equipment. They're not allowing it to an outage. They plan an outage for 16 hours. Production only lets you have 6. And so you don't get all the work done. And then the reliability gets worse and you blame maintenance. So you got to understand your waste and what's going on. It's unique to your plant. The role of the planner. Some organizations you go to, and I've been to one that literally said this, that they can take a planner they can take a worker from Walmart and train them in 3 weeks to be a planner. Yeah, that person can order parts. That person can work around a schedule. If it's 2 mechanics, 8 hours, they can do that. And they can order the pump, but can they anticipate problems? Can they anticipate how's that job going to go? What's going to draw them off the equipment? You know, like emergency work, like finding a gasket, like improper work instructions, like not knowing the lockout, tag out procedure and being comfortable with it, like the who do you check in with production, the handoff between production and maintenance, the handoff between electrical and mechanical. Who can anticipate those things and countermeasure them? That's the job of a planner. The galvanized bucket. I talked about putting a galvanized bucket on your kit of parts and staging them out at the area. And then when you disassemble small parts, you have a place to put them so you don't lose them. That's anticipating waste and attacking waste. Okay. Order of deployment. This is still under focus on waste. Order of deployment, you know, if you're going down a reliability plan and you're deploying these things, order of deployment is dependent on the waste in your plant. If you don't know the waste you're attacking, why are you training planners if you're doing an exceptional job of planning and don't have any waste there? Maybe your issue is condition monitoring, or maybe your issue is you're not doing problem solving. Where is the waste? And then apply the tool to the waste. Don't apply the tool and hope some waste goes away. And you've got to know the waste. This is almost funny. You know, 32 years into my career, it's almost funny that, hey, people apply tools, you know, and not understand what they're trying to improve, you know. So number 2 is the focus on waste. Number one lesson, mistake that I made that I wish I would have known earlier is the power of observation. It's, you know, there's a disease in manufacturing today, and it's that people think they spend time on the shop floor. People read email, they go to conference meetings, they're on conference calls, they hustle between this meeting and that meeting. They may go out on the shop floor and spend 2 minutes out there talking to somebody and then dismiss what they see as an anomaly and then just move on. The power of observation, remember what I said I've learned from Pat and Sherry earlier, is an observation, if it's not 4 hours long, it doesn't count. You know, and that's the minimum. You should have 8-hour observations. You should have multi-day observations. And I know you're probably rolling your eyes saying, I don't have time for this. Well, what you're saying is I have time to make bad decisions. I have time not to understand my waste. And I wish I would have learned this earlier. Observation, at least you can make surgical strikes with your manpower, the limited manpower that you have, to improve the business, whether it's reliability engineers, planners, supervisors, the craft people, your PDM effort. Observation. Here's an example. I love this thing. I was in a meeting, and an individual, this is a real example, okay? I was in a meeting and we were debating the next steps for the plant. And one individual started to talk and then stopped. And it was very noticeable. He had something on his mind. And I challenged him on it. I said, hey, come on, out with it. Come out with what you're thinking. Come on, everybody's opinion counts. He said, I refuse to make a comment, Joe, because what you're going to do is you're going to go out and spend the next 2 weeks observing reality, and I'll just look stupid. You're going to prove my comment, my opinion wrong through observation. You're going to do that. Well, guys, is that the culture in your plant? Do opinions count more than firsthand observation? Do biased opinions count? You know, and if you don't think your opinion is biased, you know, there's long studies on this. Everybody's biased based on their reality, based on, you know, history, and based on fear of embarrassment. It's a reality. Fear of embarrassment drives a lot of decisions. That's why you got to have observation, and you got to train people on observation. You know, here I am, a 55-year-old person, and you're telling me I need to be trained on observation? You're crazy. I'm telling you, you need to be trained in observation. Understand the 7 forms of waste, understand chalk circle, understand rules and use. I've talked about them in other videos. I'm telling you, observation, number 1. So there you have my list. So Your lean driven reliability task for the week. Do you have an observation culture? Do opinions and metrics count more than firsthand observations? The next meeting that you go to, count how many times opinion is used. Have a little tick board and say opinion, metrics, and observation. And every time an opinion comes, put a little check mark there. Every time a metric is used, put a check mark there. And put a check mark by every time it's a firsthand observation. That'll be exciting. Again, questions 1, 2, and 3 that are shared publicly will be highlighted in an upcoming video, and hit subscribe. Thank you very much.